I told him how much I loved him,
Oh.
and we cried.
Hello and welcome to the very first episode of Senior Living Good News. I'm Terry Sullivan, the co-founder of AgingChoices.com and the co-host of Aging Choices Unfiltered. And I'm joined today by my co-founder and fellow co-host, Brenda Lamone.
Hi, Terry. Good to be here. And I want to give a big shout out to John Krasinski for inspiring us to share some senior living good news.
Absolutely. Shout out from two Massachusetts girls, John Krasinski. Thank you so much for the inspiration. So we created Senior Living Good News to share the positive stories in the world of seniors and senior living today, especially during these tough times. I just love seeing the heartwarming stories of people helping other people and putting a smile on the face of seniors and the people that serve them across the world. Our goal is to share those stories with you and hopefully put a smile on your face as well. Our first story is truly heartwarming. I just love seeing the hearts on people's front doors, windows, and in public areas as I drive through the neighborhoods and my town. This movement started in March in Bismarck, North Dakota, as a way to spread love during the pandemic and to thank our healthcare heroes and frontline workers. The Facebook group A World of Hearts has over 560,000 members, which is incredible. So next week, we're fortunate enough, we will be chatting with the founder of A World of Hearts and learn about her inspiration behind this amazing movement. You won't want to miss this interview, so please stay connected in with us next week. Hey, Brenda, she inspired me to put a heart on my door. So I happen to have a heart doily from a engagement party that I hosted for my niece last year. So I put a big thank you on it and hung it out on our door. What are you doing on your end of the country to help support this awesome movement?
I did get a heart up on my door. I will say I was a little challenged in the craft department. So I managed to cut out a heart and put a ribbon on it. And it's really more about what it means and my art talent. So really thank you to all those amazing healthcare workers out there.
Absolutely. The care teams and the community teams for what you're doing. Thank you so much. Really, there's not enough news out there about the good things that you're doing. So thank you. So the next story is really about the lockdowns that we're seeing in senior living communities across the country, but that hasn't stopped families from visiting their loved ones. I really can't get enough of these stories. In North Carolina, a young woman who recently became engaged visited her grandfather at Premier Living and Rehab Center to share the news. 21-year-old Carly Boyd stood outside the window of her grandfather's room and pointed to her left hand, telling her grandfather that she just got engaged. I just got chills. What a special moment.
Congratulations to Carly.
Congratulations to Carly. I'd like to now welcome to the show newly engaged Carly Boyd. Carly, thank you for joining us today.
Thank you. It's glad to be here.
First off, congratulations on your engagement. Can you or would you be willing to share some of the details of the proposal?
Yes. So 2 years ago, me and my fiance went to the St. Patrick's Day Festival at North Myrtle Beach, and that's where he asked me to be his girlfriend.
Okay.
So we've been going for the past 2 years, and this past March when it was going on, the festival itself was actually closed because of the whole COVID-19, but they were still people walking around and stuff like that. So we still went, and we went to this place that had a little outside eating area, and we were with all of our friends, and his parents were there, and I was like, oh, that's weird. I mean, I honestly had no idea that he was going to propose to me, but I was just like, hey, and everything. And then next thing I know, he's like, Carly, I have something important to talk to you about. And I was like, okay. And he walked me out on the beach, and right when we were getting onto the beach, he was telling me how much he loved me and all that stuff. And that's when it clicked. And I was like, oh my
You're like,
gosh.
I'm in trouble.
And I started crying, and my friends, they were all at where the outside eating area was. They were all of them were screaming, woo, and all that stuff. And one of our friends had went out there and was taking pictures, and it was just a really, really great moment. And I was very shocked and surprised, and just never experienced anything like that before. So it was really great, and I'm glad that my friend Paige was actually able to capture a bunch of pictures of it.
That's awesome. Well, congratulations. Super happy for you. Exciting times for you.
Oh, yeah.
That's awesome. Do you guys have a date in mind yet?
We're thinking about not this coming December, but the next December of 2021, because I'll be graduating this May, and I'll start, hopefully once I pass my boards, I'll start working and need to be able to save up money to pay for the wedding. So that gives us enough time. And plus with all this COVID-19 stuff, I don't think I would be able to do anything this year because everything's closed, and it takes a lot of time and effort to plan a wedding. So we're thinking about December of 2021.
My business partner, my co-founder, her son's getting married this year, and they're considering putting it off as well because they really don't know what's going to happen. So it might be safer that way, right? So I understand there's one very special person that you're hoping will be at your wedding, and it's your grandfather, Shelton. Can you give us a little insight into what he means to you? Clearly, he's very important to you, but I'd love to hear it in your own words.
He's great. He's my only last living grandparent, and he had actually been living with us for the past, I'd say 5 or 6 years.
Yeah.
He's originally from Tennessee. And so I've really gotten close with him living with us. And it really broke my heart when we had to put him in the nursing facility. But with his health conditions, it just wasn't safe for him to be at home. So we put him in the assisted living place. And I actually used to work at this assisted living place, so I know that it's a good place for him.
Oh, no way. What did you used to do there?
I was just a nursing assistant at the time before I had started in school. And so, I worked there for a little while, and I knew everybody there, so I knew he would be in really good hands.
Yeah, that's awesome. That's awesome. So Shelton is in Premier Living and Rehab. So you used to work there, which is really terrific. And his senior living community is on lockdown, right? Only essential workers, no families can visit, which makes it really tough. How did you, I understand it might have been a team member at the community that gave you the idea to do this, but I'd love to find out, how did it come about? How did it happen?
Okay. So we wash his clothes here at the house, and we bring him snacks and stuff to his room. So that particular day, my father had went to is you could meet them at the door, and they would bring you stuff, or you could give them stuff to take inside. And what they would do is if you were bringing something, they would leave it in a plastic bag to sit for 24 hours, and then they would give it to them just so that it would be safe. Yeah. And so when I was talking to them, they had just recently seen where I got engaged on Facebook since they knew me, and they're like, well, have you told your grandfather yet? And I was like, no, because I don't want to exactly tell them on the phone, because that's important information you want to tell somebody face to face. And they're like, and so I don't know how I'm going to tell them without seeing them. And they're like, well, you can actually just walk around to the window and we'll pull the blinds up and you can tell them that way. And I was like, really? Y'all are okay with that? And they said, yeah, of course. And so that's just when we walked over there, and I was able to see them. And do you want me to just tell you what all happened?
Yeah, I would love to hear it. And I also, because I come from the senior living and the senior care world, is, I think there's a lot of news out there right now that's not super positive for senior living communities and skilled nursing communities or facilities. So I'd love to hear how the community teams support you as a family member as well. But I definitely want to hear the story about the engagement. So let it rip.
So when I walked around there, they had walked around inside, and they pulled the blinds up, and he has dementia, so he was a little confused. He was like, come inside, why are you outside? And they explained it to him, she can't come inside because of the virus and all that. And then he kind of was a little upset, but then that's when I was like, look, I'm engaged. And that's when he perked up, and he's like, when's the wedding? And I said, well, probably December of next year. And then he got a little down and he said, well, I hope that I can make it, because he
Okay.
feels kind of trapped right now since he can't get out. And that's not the nursing home's fault at all. They're trying to keep him safe.
Protect them,
And
of
so,
course.
yeah. And so whenever that happened, I just put my hand on the window and he put his, and I told him how much I loved him.
Oh,
And we cried, and it was a very powerful emotional moment. And I had no idea that they were taking pictures of me, because the sun was shining on the window, so I didn't see them in the background. And so
Mhm.
after I left, finished talking to them, they texted me and they said, hey, we took some pictures, do you mind if we put it on the Facebook page so other families know that they can come and see their family members like you did? And I'm like, yeah, sure, just
Yeah,
send me some, because I want some of them.
yeah.
And then they posted them, and next thing I know, it blew up.
It blew up is right. I mean, it's awesome, really awesome. And we've been
Mhm.
looking for the Senior Living Good News podcast that we're doing to bring really good news stories, because
Mhm.
the industry really needs it. So that's awesome. Did he tear up, or what was his reaction like?
He teared up. He was happy
Yeah,
for me, and he teared up because he wanted to be able to hug me, and I teared up too, because I wanted to embrace them, and just have
yeah.
that moment. But I'm super glad that I was at least able to do that through the window.
Yeah, there's a lot of families out there that can't see their loved ones. My co-founding partner just lost her father last week. He was in memory care, and they just saw him before he passed. But it's challenging. Families are very challenged right now. So, but it's really great that you could bring happy and good news to him, which is so positive. So it sounds like the community team there is really terrific, and they really care about the residents and really care about the family interaction. Would you like to say anything to that community team, as a family member?
I'm just extremely grateful that they cared enough to let me do that, because some places they don't care and all that stuff, but this is a really good nursing home facility. That's why I wanted him to go there. And
Yeah,
I just appreciate so much how they care for the patients, but also the families of the patients, because then some patients, all they have is their family to come visit them, and then some patients, they don't have any family, and that nursing staff and other staff members, they make it a point to know that, let those let those patients know
yeah.
that they are loved, and there are people there that care for them. So
That's
it's a great facility, and I'm so glad that they let me do that.
That's awesome. Thank you for sharing that. That was really important. I think there's a lot of focus not on the teams, and they really do have big heart and really care about the residents and patients. So thank you for that. I appreciate that. Is there how does your fiance feel about all this social media and all this attention on your engagement? He must be like, wow, this is crazy.
He I don't know if you saw where we were interviewed on Fox News, where it was me and him, but he was so
Yeah,
nervous. He's not really a like he doesn't do stuff like that. He's
yeah,
very shy and stuff.
yeah.
So he's just been like, if they ask me to do an interview again, don't just tell them I'm not available, because I can't. He just doesn't like all the attention and stuff like that. And I'm not saying I'm over here thriving off of it myself, but I see it as an opportunity to share my story with everybody else so that they can see. And also as a reminder that don't forget about your loved ones that are in these nursing homes, because they can't get out. And it's easy to forget they're there sometimes. You get busy with your life. So I'm hoping that my story really shows people that don't forget that they're in there. Be sure to go and visit them and show them that you are still here and that you love them and all that stuff.
Yeah, it's so important. Isolation for our elder population is such an epidemic. So thank you for sharing your story. If we forward to your wedding day and your grandfather could be there with you, what would that mean to you?
I mean, so much. I really hope that, I'm really hoping this is all over anyways in
Yeah,
a year and a half, but
yeah,
I'm
yeah.
really hoping that he's able to be there, and it'll be very special to me for him to be there, to be a part of that special day with me.
Well, I hope that is the case. I wish you the most happiness. Thank you for sharing your story with us. Is there anything that you would like to say in parting, or share anything else with our listeners?
basically, like I said earlier, just don't forget that they're there. Just and be courteous of those staff that are working there too, because they're working so hard to make sure that their patients don't get infected also. So just remember your family in there, and remember the workers that are working there too.
I just got chills. What a perfect way to end our interview. Thank you so much, Carly. I wish you the most happiness, and thank you so much for sharing your story with the world. It's just so great to have some good news, especially in the senior care world. So thank you very much for joining.
Thank you. I hope you have a good day.
All right. Thank you, Carly. Have a great one.
And we end the very first edition of Senior Living Good News on a sweet note. On Thursday, April 29th, the Whoopie Wagon of Topsfield, Massachusetts, teamed up with Aging Choices to make a few very special deliveries to our healthcare heroes. The Whoopie Wagon delivered boxes of their famous whoopie pies to Benchmark Senior Living at Putnam Farm and Seasons of Danvers, both in Massachusetts. I was lucky enough to assist with the delivery. This makes me hungry just talking about this story.
Hey, you got any extra whoopie pies that you can drop off at my house? Because I didn't get to be part of this. Doesn't seem fair.
Yeah, I get the good stories, I know.
That's awesome. I hope these stories put a smile on your face. And now it's your turn. We want to hear from you. How are you making a positive impact in your senior living communities? Share your photos and videos with us to be included in the next episode of Senior Living Good News. Just tag us on social media. On Facebook and Instagram, it's Aging Choices. On Twitter, it's My Aging Choices. Thank you so much for watching, and we look forward to hearing about your stories.